Welcome to My Spoonie Sisters, featuring stories from special guests dedicated to empowering those with chronic illness. Our goal? To connect people and provide the support and tools they need to live a better life. For those with chronic illness, our energy levels just fade faster. We must be more purposeful with the spoons allotted to us. So grab your coffee or tea, sister, and tune in as My Spoonie Sisters share stories of living with chronic illness. Hi, my Spoonie Sisters. I'm your host, Gracefully Jen, and I am here with Corinne, occupational therapist turned hand coach, and I am geeking out right now. I feel like I'm with a celebrity. So, hi, Corinne.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm the one with the celebrity. Hi, Jen. It's so nice to be here. Do you go by Jen or Jenny?
Both.
Okay, awesome. I'll call you Jen. That's how I know you.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong. I just don't like going by Jennifer, and that's actually my given name.
Yeah.
It makes me feel old.
I can see that.
So, Corinne, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Corinne. I'm an occupational therapist by trade. But you probably know me as hand coach Corinne. So I am entering the online space as more of a coach, right? Because I can't be everyone's legal OT. I only provide OT services here in Virginia in the United States. I actually own my own mobile OT clinic. And through that clinic, I also wanted to take some coaching online. And so that is where Hand Coach Corinne was born. I offer programs for people with chronic hand pain to help them to decrease their pain and, more importantly, like actually get back to doing what they want to do and need to do, just with less pain. And it has just been like literally so much fun. Like over the past year, I'm just this is what my purpose is. I love it so much.
And I love everything that you provide. Every time anyone talks to me about hand problems, I'm like, I know the person for you. In fact, I spent the morning sending video clips to my mom because she keeps asking me about different hand problems. And so I was searching through your feed, trying to find all the perfect ones for her and sending them to her.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And here's the thing, like we all have hands, right? I mean, some people actually don't. Like some people are born without hands or might have had like an amputation or something. But for the most part, like we all have hands. And the thing about our hands is that they're so needed for like darn near everything that we do. And so if you have a chronic condition that's affecting your hands, it affects not just your hands, but like your activities, like your cooking, you're like lifting up your child, you're knitting, you're crocheting, like everything. It affects everything. And then that affects our mental well-being too. And so that's why I like literally am so passionate about hands.
It's all the things. We're doing all the things all the time.
We do. Yes.
So what kind of directed you into wanting to become an occupational therapist and now a hand coach?
Oh, good question. I always knew that I wanted to help people, but I didn't quite know like how I was going to get there. At first, I thought maybe I was going to be like a psychologist, but then I was like, I don't want to like hear people's baggage all day, every day. I've got my own baggage. And so I found the field of OT at Virginia Tech. So I'm a Go Hokies. I'm a graduate of VT. And then I got my master's in OT at VCU. And like, I remember the class that we learned about OT in because the professor had a guest person in OT come in and bring all the gadgets, like the sock aids. I mean, hers was more like traditional OT, not all the gadgets that I talk about because mine are very like specified for our hands mostly. But it was like the sock aid, the dressing stick, like the shoehorn, the long handle, like the reacher or the grabber, like all these things and then she would talk about how like we would give people independence back just with this one device. And I just thought that was really cool and really impactful. I found hand therapy, even in my like pre-OT studies, I had to like do some shadowing of different settings, and hands is definitely like where I just found it to be fascinating because our hands just have so many different components. There's a lot that goes into our hand function. So I really like held fast to that and throughout grad school, like even we would learn about all these different specialties, but I always came back to hands. And so I did my level 1 and 2 fieldworks in hand therapy. So I was like a student, had to go out in the field and like learn the ropes from like a fellow OT in the community. And then I landed a job in a hand clinic, the same hand clinic that I was at as a student. So it was just meant to be, I think, for sure.
Oh, wow. So has this in turn helped you with any kind of problems that you might face?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So actually, like in OT school and even like I would say like the first exposure that I had to a hand clinic, I didn't have any symptoms like in my hands. And so I just thought it was like really fascinating, but I started having problems with my thumbs in particular with the demands of working in an outpatient hand clinic. So like we would rehab people's really stiff hands, and have to like push on their fingers with our own fingers and like all day, and like give them massages and the forearm massages and the hand massages and make splints and type. And I was using my hands in so many different ways. And so that's honestly working at the hand clinic is what sort of made me realize like my hands were not the same as my coworkers. But it's just been this really long process of like understanding my own hands and like understanding. So I have hypermobility. I haven't seeked or sought like a formal diagnosis or anything. But I have brought it up with my doctor, and that whole like diagnosis thing is definitely a story for another day. But I have that is also the piece that has made me really deep dive into the niche that I've found myself in with hand therapy of like helping people with chronic hand pain. Is like, I have had chronic hand pain now since I started working at a hand clinic, and also since I became a mom. And then like figuring out like, okay, like I can't just wear this bulky brace that like someone at a hand clinic we might make somebody that like has a fracture. That's not practical. And I have these hand issues all day, every day. I'm not going to wear a dang brace for the rest of my life. Like, yes, it's a good tool to use when we need it, but I really deep dove into all the other things like the gadgets and the kinesio tape and like the different options for supporting my own hands that weren't just a brace, that then I have really found like a home for in this online space to help others with.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to word this question, but have you found that with overuse of a brace or any kind of gadget tool, whatever it is, have you noticed if people are overusing or incorrectly using that it causes more problems?
So that's a great question. And it definitely depends on the device that they're using or overusing. A hard brace, one that keeps your wrist or thumb completely still, like that has the metal bar, like the thing that you might think of when someone says the word brace, there is such a thing as overusing that because your muscles and your joints aren't moving at all in that. And motion actually is helpful, but it's like the repetitive motions, like if, I don't know, if you like hammered all day long or even typing all day long or cooking a lot, like those are the repetitive things where it's helpful to bring like a gadget in. And there's nothing wrong with using gadgets, especially most of the gadgets are like for the really repetitive things that we need a little bit more support for. But for like the lighter everyday activities, you know, it is helpful to like try to use your hand, and also find a good balance of like using it, but not overdoing it. And then also finding a few exercises that you can do that will help to build some flexibility, or strength in those muscles as well.
So if I were to go and sign up for one of your courses right now, what would I be looking at?
That's a great question. So you would probably want to sign up for Healthy Hands Academy, which is the course for individuals with arthritis in their hands. And so I take you through like a 5-step process. And the first step is just literally like understanding your hands, understanding your pain, understanding what could be contributing to your pain that you might not even realize. And once you have that like foundation level of knowledge, I then take you and show you like all of the different pain relieving tools that you might use, like all the different options for heat, or why you might want to use heat, why you might want to use ice, how to massage your hands and why you might want to do that, how to use compression gloves. And then there I have a module on just like straight up hand splints and supports. So like I take you through all the different types of supports, from finger supports to wrist, thumb, hand supports. And then like, again, like I help you discover like which different supports you should use and when. Then we also have an exercise module. And then we have a gadget module. And so I also throughout that really help people understand what fits in best for their own life. Cause like not everyone, should do all the things, but it's important to find several things that you can do that make a big difference for your life. And like each person's different, right? Everyone has different hands. Everyone has different pain. Everyone has different joint changes from arthritis, and different activities that they need support in. So I feel like it's a good like group setting, but we also can get really individualized with it too.
That's fabulous. And one thing I want to say to the listeners too is there's an email that they can sign up for, which I get all the time. And
yay.
I love forwarding it on. And I mean, can you give an example of the kind of things that they would expect to see in your email?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for that plug too. I just sent out one about like deep diving into the benefits of compression gloves. We've just been talking a lot about compression gloves in Healthy Hands Academy. And I also like to do Q&A style, newsletters as well. So just practical tips, on how to like use a gadget, or I might highlight like a certain type of support. And I also love to reach people like on their emotional level of like what could be in the way of like helping you to create like sustainable routines for yourself.
Okay. So what would be the top 5 tools in a Spoonie toolkit that you would recommend to someone?
That's a great question. Are we talking like pain relief tools, like a pain relief toolbox, or are we talking like a gadget toolbox?
Ooh, maybe we should do both.
Both? Okay. Yeah, awesome. We can do both. So pain relief toolbox. It's always great to consider some form of heat, whether you make your own rice sock, which is like you literally just pour rice into a sock using a funnel, or like putting the rice into a cup, then stretching the sock over top of that cup and flipping it upside down to get the rice in. And then you microwave that. So that's one example of heat. But heat is a great tool. Finding a way to massage a lot of times, our body enters a protective response where we encounter pain in a certain body part. Like, for example, if you have arthritis in your joints, that's painful. Then our body tenses our muscles up around that joint to try to protect itself. But what our body doesn't know is that actually contributes to more pain because our muscles are tight now. And so massage can be a beneficial way to just break that protective response cycle. So finding a way to massage your hands that doesn't involve your hands. Like, for example, a myofascial release ball might be one of your massage tools in your toolbox. There's like loads of massage tools out there for the hands, which is like such an odd specialty. But figuring out a way to massage your hands that work well for you. You could also take like a kitchen spoon and like gently like massage and work the inside of your hand and scrape the inside of your hand with that spoon. And that's a way to like release tight muscles in your hand. So heat, massage, compression gloves are a great way to relieve your pain in your hands. TENS. Some people love TENS, or at least considering exploring a TENS unit. You're nodding your head. Do you have TENS too?
I finally actually my husband got me one over Christmas and I'm in love. I mean, granted it's for my shoulder. I would love to explore how to use it on hand though, but it is amazing.
Yes. Some clients like to put them on their forearms because our forearms actually have a lot of the muscles that control our hands. Some people have liked it like one on the palm of their hand and a pad on the back of their hand. So you can just experiment, and I don't know if they have instructions on like pad placements. But I do feel like hands often get left out in those anyway.
They do. In fact, on mine, it shows different places on the back. It shows the neck, shoulders. I feel like it might show the thighs, and that's probably it.
Yeah. I definitely have put TENS pads on people's hands, like their palm of their hand and their back of their hand, or even maybe one on the palm of their hand and then a pad like underneath their wrist a little bit, or even both pads like on their forearms. Could be a good way to, but again, each person has their own muscle tightness and their own unique areas of pain. All right. So that was 4. If I were to pick one more, it's like a tie probably between CBD lotion and cupping. So that was 6. I'm sorry. Cupping is a great way to release like tight muscles that is, I guess, kind of similar in the massage camp. But if you look up like a cupping set on Amazon, you just can literally stick a cup on your hand or stick a cup on your forearm, and it creates like negative pressure through suction and actually pulls your skin away from like the muscles and all the tightness in there to help create more space to allow more like lymphatic flow. And cupping's great too, because you just stick it there, you leave it alone for like a minute or 2. And so your other hand's not really heavily involved like in the massage aspect.
Calling all Spoonies. As a host of a chronic illness podcast, nothing lights up my day more than hearing from you, our incredible listeners. Whether it's a topic close to your heart that you want us to uncover, or you are keen to show your own journey as a guest on our show, your voice matters. Living with chronic illness can often feel isolating, but through the power of podcasting, we can come together as a community to uplift, educate, and inspire one another. Your stories, insights, and questions drive the conversations we have and the topics we explore. So if there's something on your mind, a story that you are just itching to share, or a guest you'd love to hear from, don't hesitate to reach out. Your voice is not only welcomed here, but celebrated. Let's continue to amplify the voices of those living with chronic illnesses and create a space where everyone feels heard, supported, and empowered. Together, we are stronger.
I'm learning so much right now. I'm learning that everything that I'm doing to my shoulder could apply to my hands too if I need it. That's amazing.
Yay. What's going on with your shoulder?
So for about the last year and a half, I have had some unusual pain, and I went into my rheumatologist and was complaining about it. And she thought it was an impingement, and she just kind of gave me an injection and sent me on my merry way, told me it should go away. That was a year and a half ago. And since then, I've had 2 more injections, lots of complaints. I finally saw an orthopedist before we moved, and they wanted an MRI, which of course insurance would not cover unless I did physical therapy first. Did the physical, well, actually, I signed up for physical therapy. They didn't get back into me until I was moving. So by then I had to just get over here or start all over. And so I actually had an MRI just over a week ago and found out that I have a tear in my bicep. My bursa sac in my shoulder is really angry, and tendonitis and a couple other weird things going on in my shoulder.
I am so sorry that, I mean, we could probably make a whole other episode just about the gaps in healthcare, but that is, I'm very angry for you. I'm so sorry that your care was so delayed and that you couldn't even get the scan you needed because PT was behind.
Thank you. I found a wonderful physical therapist over here, and I love her. I'm actually anxious to see her every Monday. I can't even wait to see her again. And I want to make her proud and show her I'm doing all the things that she taught me to do.
That's awesome. I'm so glad. It's so important to find a healthcare team that you know and that you trust.
Yeah. And I think that's why people get so excited when they see you, is because you've built the rapport, right? And you're teaching all these fun skills, and you laugh along the way with people, and you're doing your best to help them. And I think that's why people keep coming back, is because you're real and you bring fun to the game, right?
Thank you so much. I really love hearing that. And I definitely think that fun is key when it comes, especially because chronic conditions and chronic pain is so hard. And it's not like, haha, we're just going to like laugh this away. But it's like, it's good to like, just, I don't know, find something that really lights you up. And then still recognizing how hard it is too. And holding the space for both, like for fun and gosh, this is so darn hard still.
Absolutely. Because we're going to face all these hard things, but it's so crucial that we understand we can still move. We just need to find out how, and B, we can still laugh along the way. And that's going to release some of that tension too, I think.
100%. Like laughter releases endorphins, which then can also like help decrease our pain and make us more happy. So I love that. And I can tell that I love your humor online too. It's amazing.
Thanks. I have a different kind of humor. My husband doesn't quite get it, but that's okay.
Men don't need to get it. It's okay. You got your girls.
So we covered the 6 things in a pain.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I've had people give me 10. Okay, so that's the pain toolkit. What was the other one we talked about?
Oh, so like gadgets, like sort of like hacks that you can add into like an object that just make your life a ton easier. These make great birthday or Christmas presents. So like listeners, you could just like add it to your wish list for your birthday or celebrate Christmas in January or whenever this airs. Yeah, so I can hop right in. I wouldn't say I have like a top 5 because I just kind of view them all equally. And I view them all as like, it depends on what the person is having trouble with. But I can try to give you like a variety of different things. So the first one is called the Click and Carry. This is a tool that you can, so it's so hard to explain it, but if you look up Click and Carry, it's a tool that you like turn, it kind of looks like a handle, like a wide ergonomic handle, but you turn it in a certain way and then it opens up and you can put your grocery shopping bags like all up in there so that it basically takes the handwork out of carrying any bag in. And so then you can just like put it up on your shoulder with like this comfortable ergonomic handle, which is the Click and Carry. And you can carry your groceries or whatever bag that you need to carry up on your shoulder. It also turns paint can handles into like a much wider, better grip. So if you're into like the home reno space, definitely check out Click and Carry.
100%. And they use it for so many things. If you're not familiar with Click and Carry, they're on Instagram. Go check it out. There's a million videos on different ways to use it.
Yes, there truly are. So, oh my gosh, I could do like a whole like top 10 just kitchen gadgets, but I would say in my kitchen, the one that I use the most is the Jiffy Twist jar opener. Have you seen that?
I have it.
You have it. Do you use it?
I want to use it.
Yes.
My husband is not allowing me to attach it to my cabinet.
Really? Why?
Yes.
He's like nervous about it coming off or something.
Yes. Like it's somehow going to damage my cabinet. And so I'm so sorry, people. I love it and I want to use it.
Yes.
I still have it hiding in my kitchen. I'm debating giving it to my mom.
It's really good. So what are you using right now?
That's
your husband. He doesn't want you to stop relying on him for the tight jars. I think this is what it is. Their ego gets a little hit if we don't ask them to open up our pickle jar.
Yeah. Well, I have something off of Amazon. It's nothing fancy. It came in a kit. It has the circles. Yeah. Like the big circle, the medium, and I have one of those too. I have one of those. And then I have the round circular rubbery thing you can put on there.
Oh, like kind of like dice them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well,
I feel like they probably don't work as well.
I don't think they work as well. And well, here's the thing too. If you have like a really heavy, like milk gallon or something that you're trying to open, I will say that like the Jiffy Twist. So for the listeners, the Jiffy Twist is like, it's like an ergonomic jar opener shaped in a V that has like a serrated side on it that you stick your jar or container underneath and you just twist it. So it's like underneath your cabinet and it opens up anything from like a very wide jar to like a dressing top bottle size container to even my nail polish. It will open up my nail polish lid, which is like so small. And then, so if I have something really heavy, like let's say a big thing of Arizona tea or like a gallon of milk, holding that up, like, cause you can't just set it down and open it with a Jiffy Twist. You have to hold it up and then turn it. That's a little awkward. That's a little strenuous on like my own wrists and hands. So that's when like your thing could work well, where you like just set it on the counter and then open it up with that handheld device.
But I think the problem is sometimes my hands are so weak that it hurts to try to turn the device itself. And that's partially why I really want to just use my Jiffy Twist.
Yes, I love my Jiffy Twist. I use it for like 90% of the things that I need to open.
I'm not going to lie. He doesn't listen to this, so I can tell you. I've been really tempted to just put it up there because since the lip comes down off the cabinet just a hair, he wouldn't even know it's there.
He wouldn't even know.
I'm really tempted just to put it up
should.
there. He's not even going to notice. As long as it doesn't fall, I can prove him wrong. So 3 months down the road, I can say, guess what? It worked. I'm not having any problems. I did not ruin the cabinet. We're good.
Exactly. And just don't open up anything in front of him or just do it. And it's like, it was magic. It just flew off. I don't know. I like waved my magic finger and it happened.
I just held it to the cabinet and it's like the cabinet just released it for me.
Yes. Okay. So moving on to another gadget. All right. So I could talk all day about kitchen gadgets. You know, my heart on this, but I want to give like another example of like a different type of gadget. If anyone listening does a lot of scissor work, or if you want to like cut your wrapping paper in a more ergonomic way, spring-loaded scissors are a fantastic option. Do you have spring-loaded scissors?
Yes. In fact,
awesome.
Was it you or someone else? I think it might have been you sent me a link and I got them just before Christmas for wrapping. Amazon was so kind. They sent me not one, but two.
Oh, that's nice. I
got one on Monday and on Tuesday, another package arrived of the exact same thing. I don't know what happened.
Did you like them when you used them?
They're amazing.
Yeah,
they're
so
good. Easy.
I know. It's just, I think all scissors should be made like that. What a simple modification.
100% agree.
Yes. All right. So if number 4 would be if anybody listening is using like so we are a keyless home at this point. Like we have like a code that we enter that goes in, and our car has a key, but we don't have to turn it. So I'm not turning any keys anymore. But when I absolutely loved my KeyWing key turner. Have you heard of that?
Is that the one off of Amazon?
Yeah, I feel like these are all off Amazon. Amazon runs my life.
You're speaking my language. I don't have that because I don't actually need to use keys either. My car is a push button. Nice. My home, I can either push a code in, or there's an app that I can use to open my front door.
Oh, that's fancy. That's nice. Yeah. Well, the KeyWing key turner widens the grip on your key, like the part that doesn't go into the lock, right? Because we can't modify that. But it just makes it a way more ergonomic turn. And then you're not straining or, hurting your thumb joints.
Yeah. I feel like there could be an entire episode of just gadgets.
Oh, absolutely. I think I have like over 100 gadgets on like my gadget guide, which is like something that people in my programs get. But it's like, I'm always wanting to add more because people are always inventing new solutions that are really good.
I love my Kitchen Mama. Do you have that?
Yes. Yes. I love that too. That is one of my other favorite ones. And it's so nice because most electric can openers, like back in the day, would just be like this big bulky thing on our countertops. But this Kitchen Mama is so small and it just fits in our drawer.
Yep. And you don't have to hold a can in the air and attach it or anything like that. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. You just push a button. It's absolutely lovely. Well, we could do one more, but so maybe I'll try to troubleshoot one of your problems. Do you, off the top of your mind, if you have one, do you have like an activity that you're having a hard time doing because of your hands or because of your hand pain that we could troubleshoot it together? And that can sort of be like our last little gadget.
honestly, okay, so my biggest issue is my pointer finger.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought KT tape. I just haven't started using it.
It is hard to like start a new thing.
I know. And I've watched all the videos. I feel like I should be able to do it. The physical therapist applied it to my shoulder the other day and it feels great. But something about for me trying to open water bottles, and that's another reason why the Jiffy Twist needs to be
Yes.
used.
Yeah. Jiffy Twist would be great for water bottles.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably it's opening things that is my biggest issue.
Opening containers. Yeah. There's so many different container openers, like on Amazon or Google. If you just search like multifunctional container opener, you're going to find so many different things. And sometimes they come in like bundled. So you might get like a 3-in-1 sort of deal. Okay. So I will say this will be my last gadget that I talk about. And it's so simple because it can be applied to literally anything. Foam tubing. From Amazon. Are you familiar with foam tubing?
I think I watched you.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So, if you search foam tubing on Amazon, you'll find a pack of different sized and different width foam tubing, like kind of like what you might see, like you could also go to Lowe's, right? What you might see at a hardware store for like insulating. I think they insulate wires with it or something. I'm not entirely sure what the normal purpose is.
I think pipes.
But pipes. Yeah. And so, foam tubing comes in all these different widths, but you can put foam tubing around anything that is too narrow, because when our hands have to work really hard and bend more and squeeze more, like if, for example, you're writing with a pencil that doesn't have a grip on it, or you're gripping an eyeliner it's really narrow, like the eyeliner pencil is really narrow, or you're painting with a paintbrush that's really narrow. All those things, narrow handled things, cause our finger joints to have more strain because they have to work harder to like pinch them and to grip them. So us OTs always love to widen any handle we can. So with foam tubing, you can widen like anything from, eyeliner to pencils to paintbrushes, to like a fork and like a butter knife. And they make them like the widest one, you might be able to widen like your hairbrush handle. So people get really creative with adapting their own activities using foam tubing.
So maybe that's what I need to do. I need to start applying them to my pens, my knives, my forks. I think you might have just solved my problems.
Yay. And with knives and forks, like for a long-term use, you could also definitely look into like the wider handled utensils that they make. Cause I would imagine it would be a pain to like have to put it on and then take it off, to like, or I don't know how hygienic it would be to just wash them. Maybe they make foam tubing that isn't so foamy, that wouldn't develop like mildew or something. But that's a consideration too. And rocker knives. Have you seen a rocker knife before? Oh, okay. I'll have to send it to you and you can put it in the show notes or something. It's like a knife that, it just totally changes the game. Like you put it down and you rock it with your hand instead of having to like do that like chopping motion, I guess. So
Okay.
it makes cutting a lot more ergonomic.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because with the combination of meds that I'm on with my rheumatologist right now, I feel seemingly mostly normal, close to it anyway. But 9-10 years ago, if my husband made a steak for dinner, I couldn't cut it. I just couldn't. And so I'm fine as long as he's home when I'm having problems like that. But times where he's out of town and I got to figure it out on my own, that's where things like this are super helpful.
Yes, rocker knife or even like a right angled knife could be helpful. So so it looks like a right angle and you hold the handle and it's just way more ergonomic. Like you don't have to strain your finger joints. It's more of like a whole armed chopping motion with the way the handle is shaped.
Ooh, okay. See, I'm telling you guys, she is so helpful. Okay. Do you have a defining moment that sticks out to you it could be in your family, in your career, your hands, in anything?
That's a great question. Yeah. thinking about my story with my own hand pain, like I was having like, I would say mild, consistent pain in my thumbs when I started working at the hand clinic. And it wasn't until I became a mom that it got a little bit more ramped up, because us moms like use our hands in so many different ways and weird ways. And I remember so have you ever been to Richmond before? No.
No, that's Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm on the West Coast.
Where are you?
I am in Washington State. I used to
Okay.
in the ugly desert. Now I'm closer to the coast in the rain.
And are you in Seattle?
So I am in between Seattle and Portland in a tiny, tiny town called Kalama. It sounds like a disease, but that's the name of where I live.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. Well, if you ever make it to the East Coast, you should definitely check out Richmond. I absolutely am in love with Richmond, but there's a lot of history there, like a lot of painful history, but a lot of important history to like recognize. And I remember they were working on this walking bridge. So another cool thing about Richmond is that it's got a river, the James River, that flows through it. And they were working on a walking bridge across the James River so that we could get to like this new island. And they were working on it for like 5 years, and they finally finished it. And it was like so monumental. And we were really excited to go as a family on this bridge. I remember when we started walking on that bridge, like our 9-month-old at the time was just like, what's happening? I'm not used to this. And she was also like a fussy baby. So she didn't want to ride in the stroller. So I ended up just holding her. I didn't even have my Ergo baby. We just thought, we didn't have our baby carrier. We thought she'd be cool in the stroller, but she wasn't. And so I carried her most of the time. And it was a long bridge. My wrist and my thumb like felt tired, but like during it, but it didn't hurt. But a few hours after that, I literally felt like my thumb was broken. Like it was like, that was the moment when I realized, and I was like, what did I do? And I was like, I guess it was just from like carrying my kid, but like, what's going on here? Like, why are my thumbs hurting this much? Like, how can I rehab someone that like had a bullet through his thumbs, grip stronger than me? Like, what's wrong with me? And, and nothing's wrong with me or nothing's wrong with us, but like, that was when I was like, I think I'm just not, my thumbs are not usual. And so that is sort of what like set me down this road of like understanding, and I have hypermobility. So it's different than arthritis, but in a lot of ways it's similar in that we have pain, and it makes certain activities more difficult without modifications. So that is like, I would say, my defining moment in my journey about like my hand health.
Wow. And how did you deal with that?
That's a good question. So I tried kinesiotaping it, although I will say the hand clinic that I worked at, I learned so much, but most of our focus was on the big stuff. It's a level 1 trauma hospital. So we focused on a lot of like making splints all day and like rehabbing people's fingers after fractures and like wound care and stuff like that. So we didn't really see as much of the chronic stuff. So like, I didn't really have the framework that I have made right for myself and for my clients and my students now. So I kind of just pieced it together myself. Like I remember going to the hand clinic and I asked my coworkers about it, and they were like, I don't know, maybe it's like a strain or something. And like, they made me an assortment of different braces to try. But it was just honestly like years of trial and error, and then coming online and seeing, connecting with other people and realizing that there were like so many other options like gadgets. And I can't remember how I discovered the kinesiotape tutorial. That's my favorite for my thumbs. I think just a lot of trial and error, honestly. And so that's why I want to like help people skip the trial and error and to just like cut them to the things that I know that can help them, that have helped me.
And I think it's great that even though you're struggling, you still power through and you're finding ways to help others all the time.
Well, thank you so much. I will say that my hand pain is like significantly better, in large part because I'm not pushing on people's hands all day and my kids are like growing up like that obviously combined with all the things that I practice, with the way I support my hands and the gadgets that I use. Those are the two things that have really helped me not have as significant pain.
Well, I thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share so much helpful information to all of our listeners. Is there anything that we have not covered that you feel like we need to bring up?
Thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate being in this space with you. And I feel like we covered a lot. I feel like we covered a lot of ground today. Yeah.
I think so. Well, thank you so much. And listeners, I want you to know that I am going to share everything in the show notes, all the fun links so you can find Corinne, but definitely go find her and check out all her fun videos. And until next time, don't forget your spoon.
The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. The information should not be taken as a replacement for medical, clinical, professional advice, diagnoses, or medical intervention. My Spoonie Sisters and guests will not be held liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Trigger warning. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, and chronic disease. You are advised to refrain from listening if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. None of the guests or hosts will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Life is not merely to be alive, but to be well. Living a life with a chronic illness is best described with one word: unpredictable. Be Well's products are designed to make the unpredictable easier to deal with. Back when I was getting my infusions, I would have loved to have their adult zip hoodie. They even have one in pink. They also have everything from one-day pill holders to urgency buckets. So remember, they want to make your life a little easier. So be sure to check out Be Well.